Hey guys, I'm back in with another video today. First off, this video will contain spoilers for Shin Godzilla, so if you don't want spoiled, leave now, please. I don't want to be the cause for anyone getting spoiled, and I've did the best I can not to spoil anyone, and for the most part, I haven't spoiled anyone that doesn't want to be spoiled. But there will be spoilers in this. I will show a picture from the movie. I'm not going to do heavy editing on this video, but yeah. Second, this video is all opinion, and I can disagree with other people's opinions and explain why I think they're wrong, but no one's opinion is technically wrong. So I just want to clear that all up before I get people trying to nag stuff down my throat or take my words out of context. So, I'm doing this video off the top of my head, so I'm going to try my best to remember everything about this movie. Alright, so let's begin. So,
Kyle asked me if I wanted to be a part of his new video, and I'm like, I accept. So, anyways, people have been hating on the new changes that Shin Godzilla has made. And I will admit, I have done that in the past, but I wasn't really proud of it. I wasn't, I learned that, it was a little bit too early to judge, and I'll judge it, when we see, more action of this Godzilla, and then I'll make my final thoughts. Or, when the movie comes out, And, we've gotten a lot of spoilers leaked. Spoiler, by the way.
First off, Godzilla starts off as a tadpole. That tail comes out of the ocean, which the military see. That comes on the shore as like a snake or something with legs. And just blood's gushing out of its gills, apparently, to cool it. Then it becomes a chicken form that is like 1954 and does 1954 sound effects that retreats back into the water whenever it gets too warmed up. Then he evolves into his third form, which people hate. And I don't really get why. I mean, it's something cool and original. I think it's a fun little take on Godzilla.
You got atomic breath shooting from his back, atomic breath shooting from his tail. His jaw, the bottom jaw just opens up. It just, it splits into two. And, he's got a face on his tail. And, all the multiple forms, which I thought was a fucking rumor. But, it was actually true. And, it's kind of like, what? But, it's still cool.
And he has a beam that's, from what people were saying, it's a laser. I like the effect on it where it doesn't just come straight out of his mouth. It kind of has the fire effect where you can see a line through it. In a spot. When he goes to shoot his breath, he has a snake jaw. It completely unhinges itself, and he can open it really wide, and it even splits in half on the bottom. He also has this ability where he can make black smoke come out of him that goes all through the city, that lights up in a second of just flames, and then he concentrates them into a beam, which actually sounds kind of cool and scary. And he uses this beam to take down stealth bombers and stuff. He also falls asleep at one point in the city and gets woken up, and that's when he starts using his back beams. Now, this Godzilla also has a thing with, he has to charge, pretty much, so if he uses his energy, he has to, take a nap to recharge, and that affects him later on, so this Godzilla is definitely the most vulnerable, but definitely not, I don't know if he's the weakest, I'm not sure yet, but overall, though, I'm fine with these changes. It gives this Godzilla some uniqueness, and just, different stuff about it that people are really hating for some reason right now. And, yeah, we should probably get started with the rant.
It's cool to see something new. It's cool to see Toho step out of the box and try something new. I think it's alright. I'm not the biggest fan of the design itself, but I will, respect Toho's, will respect it because it's original and Toho was trying something new with it. I actually like this, it was a really cool thing, it's, I like it. I don't know what to say, I'm sorry. But, people have been bashing on the changes, and, I feel like we should, if you cannot like it, that's okay, that's your opinion. You don't have to, love it, you don't have to, make out with it or anything. I'm just saying, maybe, calm down a little bit, don't, be too mad about it. You can still dislike it, it's your opinion, I'm not gonna, stab you with a knife a billion times because of your opinion. I'm just saying, maybe just, maybe relax a little bit, and, maybe, be a little bit more lighthearted on it. I'm not saying too much, though. And, change is not really that much of a bad thing. I mean, sometimes it sucks, but sometimes it's, okay. Take a look at Ultraman, for example. You got Ginga and Orb. I'm going to use these two. Ginga, I didn't like Ginga, so I didn't like the changes they had. I didn't like the whole Spark Doll thing. I do like the figures, though. I just don't like the whole, how should I say? I didn't like the whole, transforming into toys, all that. Orb, on the other hand, has a fusion into Ultramans, and they use cards. I actually kind of like that because, it's more believable than turning into from fucking toys. And, pretty much all Ginga was to sell toys. That's pretty much what I think Ginga was made for. But, Orb, it's still really cool. I like this whole Orb gimmick. It actually seems pretty cool. Shin Godzilla is kind of similar to that. In 1998, there's nothing really that changes about it, and a lot of people are not too big on 1998. I mean, yeah, he doesn't really act like Godzilla, but I still kind of like it. I mean, it's okay. I'll take it. But Shin Godzilla is the same thing. People are bashing on it because it's like nothing like Godzilla was, and this Godzilla Toho decides, hey, let's actually get out of the box for this one. Let's try something new. Let's see what we'll get. And people are just beating the shit out of them because of it. It's just really, fucking really. It just I just don't like when people get really pissed off. You can still not like it, but just don't get too angry about it. Another thing is what are you guys gonna do after after a few Godzillas, when you're like, Godzilla is still just doing his atomic breath, his atomic pulse. He's just rocking around, destroying the city and fighting a monster. Can we have something original about this Godzilla? And then they come out with this, and you're like, and then what's gonna happen? Are you gonna be like, oh, finally, originality, finally? Or are you gonna be like, why'd you change your Godzilla, dude? What the fuck? That's what I don't like. People don't really know, people can't really, what people say, it just deflects, pretty much. What I'm trying to say is, here's another example, to go a little bit off topic. People are saying, Anguirus should be in more films, Anguirus should be in many films as Mothra is, even though A, Anguirus has been in more films than the majority of the kaiju cast in Godzilla, and B, if Anguirus appeared as much as Mothra, people would be complaining about Anguirus as well. That's my big problem. It just doesn't make any sense.
Thank you, Kyle, for allowing me to be in this video. I want to make a rant on everyone who despises Godzilla 2016. By the way, spoiler alert if you haven't really figured that right now. By people despising, the more we're talking about people who hate something different, people who fucking hate something different, people who are like, this is Godzilla 1998, it sucks. Well, here's the thing. Godzilla 1998 was changed so it could disrespect the character and go for something completely different while at least staying as far away as possible from the original character. Guess what Godzilla 2016 does? It does something different. It tries to take ideas that already exist in the Godzilla universe and takes it and twists them and does this old little fucking magic to it. And then, for some weird reason, it gets ridiculed because of it. It gets shunned, even though it respects the character at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. And there's actually perfect reasons why it does this. If you have not seen the Monstrosities spoiler review yet of Shin Godzilla, they give a perfect fucking reason why. And I'm sorry if I'm, excuse my French, but I'm going to be using a lot to get my point straight out. Because it actually turns out cursing makes you the most vocal. But it actually turns out that there's reasons why Godzilla shoots lasers out of his back. There's reason why Godzilla shoots a laser out of his tail. Here we go. This is why. Number one, the reason why he shoots laser out of his back because B-2 bombers bomb from behind. His back is vulnerable, actually. His back is his weak spot. And Godzilla realizes this. Oh shit, my life's in danger. So he goes full out fucking mental by spewing out a black mist / smoke all over the city. And by city, I mean it goes throughout the streets as he's expelling it. And then he sets off a somewhat orange atomic beam, kind of like Godzilla 2000, and sets the city in flames. And then after this is when his beam becomes more concentrated, and this is what Godzilla uses for his aiming. His fire breath is just more in terms of, it's not really concentrated, nor I would really think, for the looks of it, is not really long range and probably won't hit the target. He actually uses that when he expels the black smoke and then releases it so he can set things to a flame. But then he concentrates it to create a kind of blaspheme effect, and this is when the concentrated beam happens, slices a B-2 bomber in half while at the same time exploding it in midair. And then when another B-2 bomber tries to come out of his back, he actually turns his back to it. You'd think lucky shot, right? No. Godzilla blasts his beams out of his back to pretty much say, yeah, can't hit me there anymore. Sucks to be you. And then later on in the film, when they actually figure out the way to actually stop Godzilla is the chemical, when they're trying to get Godzilla distracted, or at least to the point where he can't use his assault anymore, they aim at his mouth and his back with the chemical, so Godzilla cannot necessarily use that. He doesn't have enough energy to produce in those two areas. So he decides to put all the energy to the end of his tail and shoot a beam from there, because that's the only spot that actually has very exposed flesh, because two areas that are exposed is his mouth and his back. And that's really usually where the source of energy comes from. And that's the same with his tail. His tail can shoot the energy because his tail is exposed as well. Boom. Also, another thing, Godzilla does not eat people, to anybody wanting to know. And yes, the things coming out of his tail, they do look similar to humans, but they're not humans. They're not humanoids. They just have a somewhat similar structure, just like Godzilla. Godzilla has a humanoid structure. Now, past all the spoiler stuff, now let's get to it. To all the Godzilla fans out there that are being completely mental because this Godzilla is completely different, oh, I don't like change. Here's the thing. Godzilla is a loose cannon character. He's supposed to change. It's what happens. In 1954, he was an ancient creature that was already a giant monster, but was later mutated / baptized by the atomic bomb and became much more bigger than he is and caused rampage and spew out his atomic blast. Then, in 1999, he was a dinosaur that was mutated into Godzilla. By the way, doesn't really make any sense, but Godzilla doesn't make any sense. Godzilla 2013, he was an ancient creature that is nature's balancer, and also as well an alpha predator. But this Godzilla is not mutated, though. This Godzilla feeds off radiation, but he is not mutated. Now we'll move on from that. What's Shin Godzilla's origin? Well, first he starts out as a microscopic, a microorganism. And once he starts feeding on radiation, that's when the thing starts to form and form and form, to the point where now we get our eel-like, snake-like Godzilla with legs that walks on shore. And after that, Godzilla, oh, sorry if Xbox knows, Godzilla, gets more upright and he becomes more like Godzilla. His cooling factor is his back. The reason why Godzilla bleeds out of his neck, because that's his cooling factor. That's his exhaust point. But after that, once he mutates, he doesn't have an exhaust point anymore. His back starts glowing red because he's overheating, so he has to go back to the ocean. And then he comes back. Now he doesn't necessarily need that because he's kind of big enough to contain all that energy without having to expel it one place or another. Now he's big enough to actually keep it all together, not having to expel it nonstop. Now there's your little thing. And Godzilla fans gave somewhat good reasons that, oh yeah, the Godzilla himself, it's just, I am okay with the changes, they should just spread it out a little bit more. It's like, but here's the thing though, the reason why Godzilla's abilities in the Showa era, Heisei era, and Millennium era were all spread out, because none of them were planned out. That's the thing. Just look at the Showa era. That has a lot of continuity errors and doesn't really respect the previous film as much as you would say the Heisei era does. But the Heisei era has a bunch of plot holes, which is another reason why none of the films really plan out, but at least that one tried to go for a much more better continuity than the Showa did. And then Millennium is a perfect example that they never plan out anything, because each film besides Tokyo SOS is a reboot or ignores all the films previous to it besides 54. And that just shows it. Godzilla's abilities, Godzilla's abilities have just been spread out because there wasn't anything planning for it. It was just kind of like, okay, we just got done making a Godzilla movie. Let's make another one. Okay, what should we got? Okay, what should we do in this movie? Make Godzilla a magnet. See, that kind of thing. In this movie, Hideki Anno was like, you know what? Let's make Godzilla have a Pink Floyd concert show, and this and that, all these kind of abilities. I want to change his origin. You know, it's kind of like Hideki Anno's like fan fiction of Godzilla, what he wants Godzilla to be. Not exactly want it, but he wants Godzilla to be different. He wants him to stand out from all the others, and Godzilla fans don't realize that. This Godzilla does not disrespect your little childhood fantasy. It doesn't disrespect your childhood hero. You know what it does? Put a unique twist to it. A perfect example of a loose cannon twist to a character is Ultimate Spider-Man with Carnage. Carnage was obviously the alien symbiote that was the offspring of the Venom symbiote and attached itself to Cletus Cassidy and became that. It found itself a host. And this one, the symbiote is actually, of course, a mixture is the Venom symbiote, but it actually is combined with Peter Parker's blood, so that's why it has that's why it is. But it actually has a mind of its own. But more and more it feeds on humans, the more and more it becomes more human. And that's exactly what Shin Godzilla is. Shin Godzilla is the thing that is a microscopic creature that becomes more and more progressive and big and stronger and more pure throughout the film. Kind of like Hedorah, but I use Carnage more of a better example because at the end he does become complete and whole after he gets enough of the energy. Kind of like Shin Godzilla. It's a perfect example. Great example. This is a new twist. This is a great new twist on Godzilla, but yet Godzilla fans cannot cope with it because they don't like change. They like to be boring. Godzilla's a dinosaur, which by all means, anybody who keeps going to the origin of Godzilla being a dinosaur and that's the only one they want, you're ridiculous because even 54 had a different origin from that. Okay, so shut up for 5 seconds and actually realize that Godzilla has multiple origins throughout. Okay, it makes not total sense. Like I mentioned, it's understandable that he wanted everything spread apart. But like I mentioned, the reasons why all the abilities in the past were spread apart, because none of the Godzilla fans were planned out. Once that, none of the Godzilla fans were not fans. None of the Godzilla films were planned out once one was made. The reason why they made a sequel was because of box office success. That's the reason why. That's why they went with it. And that's why at the end of the Showa era, the reason why Godzilla films, they were like grinding them out is because Toho was trying to, catch up with the idea of television and how people were more flocking to television than the movie theaters. And that's why, of course, at the end, Godzilla films were getting cheaper and they didn't make as much because people were kind of like, Godzilla, why would I watch a giant monster movie if I could just watch it on television? And that's exactly the thing until Japan finally figured out, we can market these films on TV. And that gives a perfect reason why. This film is cluttered with the abilities, but the reason why Godzilla fans are not necessarily used to that is because we always had a non-planned out source of Godzilla's abilities, but when we actually have a planned out amount of Godzilla's abilities, that's when Godzilla fans get really fucking furious over the most smallest goddamn things. Guess what? This new Godzilla movie comes out. It's different while still respecting the character, but it's not going to ruin your Godzilla character. It's not going to ruin anything. It's perfectly fine, and you should have the at least decency to realize, I don't necessarily like this Godzilla that much, but hey, I'm a Godzilla fan. This is a film that I don't really like the origin of, but I'm always going to have my favorites over dislikes. So remember that. Don't try to hate this film just because it's different. Actually recognize it's different instead of just hating on it because it is. Back to you, Kyle.
So I just realized I had my mic too close to my face this whole time, so that's probably why I sounded really messed up. But okay, so I'm gonna get started on my turn of the rant now. Look, G fans, all like, you guys are all calling this light show and stuff ridiculous. Even though you haven't seen the film, you guys are already hating the film. Even though you haven't seen the film, you guys are already turned down. Even though, look, there's nothing wrong with early hate. It's opinions. We have opinions, but we're allowed to disagree with those opinions. And I'm allowed to say why I think you guys are nuts. Look, it's okay for early hate, although I really, really hate it. Even I made a tag that says stop the early hate. But listen, here's the thing. You guys have not seen the film yet. You guys have not seen the beams in action. Even the mouth one you haven't seen in action yet. You have hardly seen Godzilla truly in action yet. And you guys are already hating it because some pictures that got leaked. Pictures. just pictures. And most of the people who saw the film are saying stuff like it's a masterpiece and stuff, although there are a couple that don't like it. Still, overall, getting very good ratings, and people are saying it's a very good film. Now, a lot of people are comparing this film to Gino, which, like I said, I don't know if I said it, but that's a video for another day. But you guys are saying this is like Zilla, which is completely false. Honestly, to me, first off, I think it's Toho's done the same thing for the most part for the past 50 years, but with changes every now and then. Like, Godzilla's been a demon, he's been a ninja, he's been like a superhero, all kinds of stuff over the years. And now he's just like, I don't even know how to describe it. He's mostly a mutation though. America's doing the animal Godzilla right now. And it's more traditional. So Toho wants to be different as possible from 2014. So they're doing something unique. And they're actually trying to do something unique with Godzilla. And when pictures get leaked, people get pissed. Now, I disagree with a lot of you guys' opinions. Something I see a lot of you guys saying is these are ridiculous and you give up on the film now. Okay, so tell me, so Godzilla flying by using his beam, defying gravity, doing drop kicks, boxing, doing ninja moves, being a ninja, being a demon, you have a nuclear pulse, dancing in space, all that's not ridiculous. But him having enough energy to create extra beams is... I disagree with that big time. I had someone tell me, oh, that was the Showa era. Fine, maybe it was the Showa era where most of that stuff happened. I guess that was 70s, so they were all probably, doing that back then. But what about Heisei and Millennium? In Heisei, he had the nuclear pulse, there's the time travelers that changed the origins, made plot holes, it was still at some points kind of ridiculous. And even 1954, with the oxygen destroyers coming out of nowhere, was kind of different too. I don't mind it, but I've had some people tell me that came out of nowhere as well. A little bit ridiculous how it just came out of nowhere. Then we got Millennium, where he was a demon, literally, in one film that was made from all the souls of the World War veterans and stuff that got mad and remade Godzilla. And then in Final Wars, he was a straight up ninja, pretty much. That was just like, you guys know how he was in that film. That film was like The Matrix. You got people fighting people, aliens fighting jets, and Godzilla fighting every monster in the universe. You guys know. You guys are saying that this is ridiculous. A very dark, a very serious take on Godzilla. The only thing I think is ridiculous about this movie is that it uses basically only Showa effects, which kind of bothers me, but I can look past that. I could probably get past that pretty easy. I'm sure it won't take away from the film at all. But it's just, I don't get why you guys are hating so early. You guys haven't seen the film yet. You guys haven't seen the beams in action. You guys are saying this is new Zilla, renaming it stuff like Anozilla, Snakezilla. Listen, this is Shin Godzilla, or God Godzilla. This is God Godzilla. And Shin Japanese means new, true, and God. They're going with the definition of God Godzilla. But I think it would have been more interesting if they went with New Godzilla, because this Godzilla is brand new, it's completely new, and people were just not liking it. This film did didn't it do 6.2 million opening weekend in Japan? Like, that's really good. Like, that's actually pretty good. People are loving this film. And it's just the G fans that can't stand change are the ones hating it. you guys gotta understand, Godzilla's gonna evolve at some point. He's not always gonna be the same thing. I hear so many of you guys saying you guys want the 90s incarnation to be the main Godzilla. You want him to use that one again? Why would you do that? Like, 90s Godzilla was its own story. Heisei story's over. The chapter ended. It ended on a cliffhanger, but it still ended. Now we got a new Godzilla, which actually a handful of people were complaining about, saying, "Oh, we don't really get new Godzillas." And finally, they're like, "Oh, it's gonna fail because it's suit, not CGI. It's same old plot." Now we finally get somewhat a new plot. We get a brand new Godzilla that's completely new origin, new everything, new story. Just it's brand new. And now you're like, oh, it's too original. And yes, I am talking about Gojira 5400 because I'm too out of it right now. I've been dehydrated for the past few days. Sorry, guys. I'm serious, though. I've been dehydrated. But, yeah, it's like, and be expecting maybe a rant on him here soon. But, it's like, you guys want original, but, like, I just don't get it. It's like, you guys want an original. There was a handful of you guys that didn't want suits anymore. I know there are some that are upset at the fact that there's no suits, and that's fine. Okay, I get it. That would probably been cool if it was a suit, but I'm very, very curious on how the CGI is going to be. I'm a big... I'm probably because growing up, all I had is CGI for the most part, besides Godzilla. And I'm very curious, how Toho can do their CGI. Also, I'm curious on how they're going to how the film's going to look and how they make this look. The ending is really weird. I think something else people are making... not everyone knows about this. I've known Godzilla will be reproducing for a very long time now. But my sources used to tell me he would. But actually, he's starting to in the film. They never fully show it. Well, kind of. But I'm afraid that people are going to be like, oh, that's another thing Godzilla 90. This is not Godzilla 98. It reproduces. Look, Zilla was its own thing, and Godzilla 2016 is its own thing. Godzilla 1998 and Godzilla 2016 aren't the same thing. Because here's the thing. Godzilla 1998 was disrespectful. This film is respectful. It's the new Godzilla. It's Godzilla. It's made by people who love Godzilla. It's made by a company that would not purposely hurt their baby. You understand Godzilla's their big money maker, right? They would do whatever it takes not to hurt it. And everyone's calling this ridiculous because Godzilla does something new. Listen, guys. First off, you're not going to get the same film for the next, I don't care, if you guys want classic, go to the legendary. Simple as that. We're getting classic. We're getting Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, and we're even going to be getting a remake with Godzilla and King Kong that's supposed to have another monster in it. Apparently from, articles and stuff I read. Now we got Toho doing something new. They've done the same Godzilla film for years, and now I keep saying the same. I shouldn't say the same. They haven't been the same every time, but they've been very similar each time. We're getting something completely new now. People are hating it, and the people who are complaining that they wanted to be more original are now complaining because it's too original. Listen, you can't please everyone. I get that, but you guys, it's annoying that you guys are hating the film before it even comes out, and just because what some pictures showed. Look, guys, if you go in this film hating it, you'll probably come out of this film hating it. That's how I see it. I'm not sure if everyone's like that, but I have met people like that. Look, the film's doing great right now. Good job, legendary. And it's like, I feel like before you guys start judging, you should go see the film. The film does sound actually kind of scary at some parts. Some of the stuff they're doing with it actually kind of sounds scary. It does sound like the scariest Godzilla since 54. And maybe GMK or something, but I'm just saying, look, the scariest Godzilla film. Look, guys, just think, okay, there's some of us that like these changes, but there's some of you guys that just already gave up on the film. Look, as G fans, we're in a community that we all have differences. That's what makes a community a community. We all talk about our opinions, and we all talk about our disagreements and agreements. That's how a community works. And I get that. So I'm right here right now, me and Hedorah and Ryan, telling you guys how we think a lot of you guys are pretty much idiots. But I'm saying here, look, don't judge a book by its cover. I guess that's the best way I could say it. You guys are taking pictures and some info that's been released and taking it way out of context. You guys have not even seen the film yet. And then there's that review that came out that's like an hour long that like says the whole film. And the film sounds awesome, to be honest. There's like maybe one thing that I find bad about it, and that's about it. They make the tail and they explain the tail and back lasers, make them make sense and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, look, what would you rather have? And I know a lot of you guys would probably say the other one, but would you guys rather have a Godzilla that's completely new and has new ways to defend himself? Because if a monster got behind him, like Godzilla 2014, I don't think this Godzilla is very fast. If Godzilla 2014 got behind him, without the back beam and tail beam and stuff, he could probably rip them apart. So it's like a porcupine kind of defense method, as other YouTubers have told me. And look, this is special, I think, because it's a new way for Godzilla to defend himself, which I find cool. But I'm about done with this rant. I don't have much else to say right now, because Hedorah and Ryan basically got all my other points across, and I don't want this video dragging. But this ain't gonna be the end of the rants for me. Like I said, I have a very special rant planned soon for a couple of YouTubers that really have surprised me lately.
But yeah, I'm just saying, calm down a little bit on this. Don't give it too much hate. You haven't seen it yet. You can still not like it for what it is, but wait till you see how it is and then give out your final thoughts. Once you've seen it, then do whatever. Alright, I'm out.
I would also like to thank Hedorah and Ryan for being a part of this video. In the future, will probably be doing more videos collabing with other YouTubers that aren't live streams. But this video was actually pretty long. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the whole thing. My audio is going to be pre-recorded, so I'm guessing it's going to be like 40 minutes long. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please share, like, and subscribe and get the word out on this video. And spread the word. If you agree with our opinion, spread it. Also, I made a couple jokes from Titan Goji. Well, I made one joke that he made. The one where I said, it's not worthy of Zilla, it's just God. So, yeah, that was his joke. That wasn't mine, by the way, guys. Alright, well, it's pretty late at night, so I should probably go to bed. And that's probably why I sounded so weird during the video, but whatever. Alright, guys, have a good night. Have a good day, whatever it is. Thanks for watching, and check it out. Check out Hedorah and Ryan's channels. Peace.